FKT number 2. This is the Ghost Town Trail main branch. FKT, um, fully supported out and back. I did it in 11 hours, 53 minutes, and 44 seconds. Um, it's it's on the main branch, which is about 32.2 miles long. So you get 64 and a half, basically around that area, and change if you do an out and back. So pretty significant out and back. Again, the main branch is 32 miles. It's a pretty nice rail trail. It's one of those local treasures that we have. Um, it's very well maintained by the Indiana and Cambria County Parks and Rec departments. So I'm thankful for that. I live less than 10 minutes from the Vintondale trailhead, which is uh, give or take a couple miles from the actual middle of the trail itself. I think it's about mile 13, like 12 and a half to 13 miles. Um, so give or take about the middle, and one of the nicer sections of the trail. Anyway, again, this is another one of those like COVID projects that I took on. For something to do since there really wasn't many races going on. Just wanted to challenge myself and bring some notoriety to the trail itself. So I had the Ghost Town Trail FKT set up. It's your typical rail trail with like the crushed limestone throughout. It starts in Sailor Park. If you hear me talk about Sailor Park and the Hoodlebug FKT, it's the same starting area. It just wise off into a different direction. So it starts at Sailor Park slash the Black Lick area and heads up 32 miles and change to Evansburg, PA. So you're going to go through like Vintondale, Nantiglow, Heshbon, bunch of little towns and like coal mining history throughout. Um, but this was just a fun FKT to see and push myself and stay in shape during COVID. Again, this was an out and back, a little bit unconventional start, and I'll get to that here in a second. I'm just going to read my um, breakdown that I wrote up and submitted to the FKT. Since again, I didn't take any pictures or videos what back then that I could find. Um, so here it goes. This is my report that I submitted. I ran the Ghost Town Trail as an out and back to set the standards. Being local to the trail, I was made aware no one ever completed an out and back of the whole trail in its entirety on foot. So that was my mission. At least that's what I was told. And all the information that I was looking into, nobody actually ever did it. Or if they did, at least not for time. Um, I started in Vintondale. Again, that's probably roughly mile 18.5. Um, Parking at Vintondale allowed me to pass my car so I could change or do whatever I needed to later on. So as far as any record show, I'm the first one to finish the out and back of all 32 miles. Um, Most people only do the 50K, which isn't the actual whole trail. It goes roughly 32.2. So there is a 50K on the trail itself. In June each year, it starts at mile zero and goes um, to the Young People's Christian Center, whatever it's called in Evansburg, and that's only like the 31 miles, um, obviously for 50K. So it doesn't go on that extra um, mile past where the actual trail actually goes to and stops. Um, so I made it. I ended up with 64.75 miles. Did it in 11 hours, 53 minutes, 44 seconds, which put me at a 11 minute and 1 second per mile pace. I slowed way down halfway through. I started in Vintondale, running towards Sailor Park, since it was the longest stretch, 19-ish miles. Um, then at mile zero, I turned around. Then once I hit Vintondale, I ran up towards Evansburg the whole way past mile marker 32, where the gate uh, says the trail ends. That way, there was no question I did the whole trail. So um, I went down to mile zero. There's a mile marker. They have mile markers for each mile. You can't miss them. They stand up pretty good. Um, and then at the very end of the trail, there's like a yellow gate, and that's what I touched to signify the turnaround point. So even if you would start the FKT at mile zero and did it in Outback that way, or mile 32.2-ish, and touched the yellow gate, those are good reference points to start and stop the FKT. I had my dad crew me all day. I refueled at mile zero, then Dilltown, Vintondale, Nantyglo, Evansburg, and Nantyglo again before hitting Vintondale on the way back. It started out cold in the morning. It was about 45 degrees when I started. Luckily, I took gloves and sleeves and a gaiter. Mostly those were for sun protection, but provided usefulness from the cold early in the morning before I really got warmed up. Um, it was an unconventional way to do an out and back, but it was the only way I could realistically do it though. Actually stopped more than I planned. Native Glow and Deal Town were extras because when I first started during the day, I wasn't really gonna have my dad help me all day, but then he decided he wanted to, so I let him, and it actually was more beneficial to do it that way. But that was another reason why I parked my car at Vintondale, so I would have been in the middle, and I could have just refueled and did whatever I needed to there a couple times instead of relying on anybody. But having my dad was a huge help. Um, Maybe point three into the run, there was a tree down. Must have came down overnight. There was also a tree that came down in Dealtown by the Dillweed bed and breakfast. Um, no more than a half an hour before I got to it on the way back. Um, it wasn't there on the way down, so I guess you always have to pay attention when you're running. So a tree did fall by the time I went past and came back. Um, Saw a good bit of wildlife. There was a beaver in the creek, some turtles, some multiple little pond things along the trail, squirrels, about 20 deer, no bucks though, and one bear. The bear itself was maybe a tenth up from the Wareham pull off heading towards Ventondale. It was maybe 75 yards at most from me. Um, it looked at me and then crossed. It was maybe 100, 150 pounds at most. Um, doesn't mean it was the only one though. Just the only one I saw. I didn't know what to do. Um, if I wanted to go up there and just risk running into it again in case it was still there or whatnot. Um, but luckily, I waited for some bikers to come by so I didn't cross the area where I saw the bear alone, just in case. Uh, you never know if there's a mother and cubs, especially that time of year. Um, I did think I saw one baby copperhead about 6 inches dead as well on the trail. Um, in the summer months, there is some copperheads along the trail, so you do have to watch out if you're running um, or biking. You don't want to run over them, but you also don't want to get bit if you're running. Um, I was fine for, say, the first 25, 30 miles. Then I really started to feel it. My legs started hurting. I think it was the consistency of the trail, the flat, not changing terrain, and lack of hills. So it worked the same muscles over and over again. My body's just not used to that. Um, Also think by running on the right hand side the whole time, it had me compensating some on my one leg, causing the other to hurt. You know, because you get, even though it's rail trail, it's still not perfectly level. I did notice the bottoms of my feet hurting, so I did change shoes when I got back to Vintondale for the first time. Um, I wore my speed race day shoes in hopes I'd run faster, but it proved to be a mistake at the time. That's why I switched out shoes. I did wear my sleeves and gaiter around my neck most of the day. Uh, Seemed to keep my arms fresher. The sun burns at bay along with the sweat. Um, Hydration wasn't an issue, neither was food. I ate less than I should have, but made up for it being hydrated. I peed all day and had two poop stops, so everything was working properly. I also changed shirts in Vintondale as well, so that was a little bit refreshing. I did need something I didn't pack, and that was fruit. A trail runner will tell you how much fresh fruit helps during a race more than other things. At least it does for me, like especially like watermelon. Had my dad stop at Sheets and get me some when I got there in Evansburg, so it was refreshing to have some fruit. He got me like a fruit cocktail type thing. Um, really hit the spot at the time. Um, the last 14 miles I ran, I had to institute a run walk method, which is every time I hit a mile marker, I'd walk a tenth, then run four and repeat. Um, each mile, then it'd just be like 2/10 of walking, then 8/10 of running. Um, it was the only way I could not die, and rejuice my legs a little bit. Um, it made the last 14 miles rough, causing me to take longer than needed normally. Just didn't have the um, stamina left in my legs or anything in there to go any faster without hobbling along. Um, Actually, when I woke up, I almost canceled the attempt. Wasn't feeling it. Um, so it took me 19 miles in the sun coming out to really get mentally revved up for it, which is a shame if I had my legs, any legs left. I actually went for all 92 miles of the trail that day. That would have included the CNI extension. Since I didn't, I just did the main 64. When I attempt this 64 again, at the time I said heck no, but um, now actually I would, and I'm probably going to again at some point. Um, but it did really take its toll on me that day. Uh, my knee was killing me after, and I was having a hard time straightening out again just because of the um, flatness of the trail and no real change. So it was like the same muscles all day long. I can run trail races that are longer and use a variety of muscles, but using the same ones all day long just sucks. Um, Not much happened really to speak of since it wasn't a race and it was just me versus me all day, me all day. There was a lot of traffic that day. I maybe saw 200 bikes, maybe five or six walkers, and two runners on the trail. Um, for some reason that day there was a lot of bike traffic. Um, and just a lot of people just didn't wave when I waved back to them. If I was 100% all day, I definitely could have shaved 3 to 4 hours off. Um, so my time may look decent. It's very beatable though. I also took a lot of time when refueling unnecessarily. Um, as you can see from my splits, how my day went, I was on track before continuing slipping my pace lower and lower. Um, Again, it's one of those things. Pace is going to slow throughout the day, especially when you're doing 64 miles. Not too many people can maintain that, and I'm definitely not one of them. Um, Weather was perfect once 7 a.m. hit. Couldn't ask for more perfect temperatures. It was a little breezy as well, so wasn't getting overheated. Um, Only dipped my hand in water twice to wash off and cool down. The stretch from Naninglo to Evansburg still took a good bit out of me. Uh, the stretch always does in the hotter months because it's more open, and when the sun hits it, it really radiates the heat back up on you, so you're getting it from both directions. But had my buddies John and Leah see me at the finish line as well in Vintondale, um, so that was cool. Um, but overall, this is a nice FKT to do. Uh, if you like flat real trail, you get about 1,000 feet of gain or descent depending on which way you go. So I had roughly 2,000 feet. I think my Garmin picked up 1939 total ascent. Um, so I'm gonna, out and back. That's what you get. I know if you start in Sailor Park, the consensus in the area is 1,000 feet of gain to Evansburg. So my Garmin says 64.74 miles. That would have cut a little bit, a couple feet off the trail when I was refueling by the vehicle. But other than that, um, I would say the whole trail was like 64.6 or 64.5 range. Um, and as you see, if you go down through my splits, you could see, let's see here, if I can pull it up, about mile 32 into the trek is when I saw the bear because that was like my first mile that uh, really added on time and I was like 17 minutes flat. So that would be about right. Since I started in Vintondale, I had to run down 18 to mile zero, then it would have been about yeah, 14 um, on the way back. So that would have been like when I saw the bear. Then the next double digit was at like 34 when I actually hit Vintondale back to my vehicle. But then from there, you can just see my splits slowed down the rest of the day. Um, just something different. Other than that, don't know much else to say. There is a lot of good history of the Ghost Town Trail if you want to look it up. A lot of information, a lot of people bike it, um, take pictures. There's a lot of things to see. And again, history of the trail. Um, you go, there's some bridges on it. Um, Basically anything that you would come to accustomed to for rail trail you would see except for busy city life. That'd be about the only thing you don't see um, on the main branch of the Ghost Town Trail. Um, would I do the whole 64 again? When I wrote it, I said no, but again, I would do it again now, um, and, or do a couple 50Ks on it, self-supported or unsupported. Again, they have a 50K race on the whole main branch, which is what this is. It's just an unconventional way to start and stop it. Um, but I train on this trail a bunch of times throughout the year, whether it be running or biking. I actually prefer to bike it because it's the closest trail that I actually have where I can actually get some good mileage in on biking. So in the summer months, that's usually where or how I actually use the Ghost Town Trail is for biking, um, and actually hold a race on it, one of the extensions in the fall. So, and there's a couple other races on it as well, some 5Ks, 10Ks. There's even a 7K on the trail. So a lot of good things. And this was, as you see, let me see which direction it is. Oh, that way. Oh, there we. As you see, it was actually the trail of the year in 2020, which was the year I did this FKT. So, um, something different, and it was a good year to actually do the FKT for this trail. But if you want to know any more, um, you can just Google Ghost Town Trail in Pennsylvania, or you can again look at the Trans Allegheny Trails, which is another one of those rail trails in that group of local road trails.